Good morning, everyone. I'm teacher Zarina. So today I'm going to share with you about our lesson for our next class. First of all, I would like to say sorry because I won't be able to make an online class with all of you on the 25th of February. So I have decided to record my presentation for tomorrow's class. Okay, so for our class, we are going to learn about hold on. Okay, for 25th of February class, okay, before we start with the new activity, I would like to uh, to do a revision on these stative verbs. Okay, so what is stative verbs? Okay, if you can see from the slide, stative verbs describe a state rather than an action. Means it is not something that you do, it is actually a statement. Okay, it is actually something that you say. Okay, something that you say about something. You make a statement. Okay, and they are usually used in the present, and they are not, sorry, okay, they are not usually used in the present continuous form. Okay, so please bear with me, the slide is not full. Okay, so they are not usually used in the present continuous form. Okay, let's look at the examples below. Okay, the first example we have, I don't know the answer. Okay, so this is the sample of a stative sentence. Okay, and we do not write I'm not knowing the answer. Okay, so when it comes to stative verb, we do not use the ing or the present continuous tense. Okay, number 2, she really likes you. Okay, she really likes you. So this is the stative verb, okay, stative sentence, but we do not say that she's really liking you. So this is wrong. Okay, do not add ing or do not use it in the form of present continuous sentence. Okay, number 3, he seems happy at the moment. Okay, so the stative verb here is seems. Okay, sorry, happy. So he seems happy at the moment means this is a statement. Okay, and we do not say he is seeming happy at the moment. Okay, so if you add ing, so it is not a stative verb. Okay, so just remember, stative verb, there is no ing or continuous form. Okay, let's continue. Okay, here are other examples of stative verbs. Okay, if you can see from the slide there. So we have some verbs are not normally used in the progressive or continuous or ing form. Okay, so these verbs are called stative verbs. So all the form or the sentences that do not use the ing, it is called as stative verbs. Okay. So what are they? Okay, let's look at the sample one by one. Okay, the first one, some stative verb, we have the word agree. Okay, so agree, let's look at the sample sentence. I agree with him. Okay, so we do not say I'm agreeing with him. Okay, okay, number 2, the next verb, believe. Okay, so sample sentence, she believed him. Okay, she believed him, and we do not write she was believing him. Okay, it is wrong. Okay, continue. Number 3, the word doubt. Okay, I doubt that's true. Okay, and we do not say I'm doubting that's true. Okay, then we have the sample. The next one is the word the verb want. I want a new car. Okay, we don't say I am wanting a new car. Okay, and then we have the word mind. I don't mind. Okay, but we do not write I'm not minding. Okay, okay, continue with the next verb, promise. I promise I will stay. Okay, and we don't say I'm promising I will stay. Okay, we have the next one is suppose. We suppose it's true. Okay, and we do not write we are supposing it's true. Okay, the last word but not least is the word feel or to have an opinion. So you felt it was a good idea. Okay, but we do not write in the form of ing. you were feeling it was a good idea. Okay, so that is not stative verbs if we have ing. Okay, okay. Okay, now let's continue, everyone. So we are now into our activity for our class today. Okay, so for today we are still under the topic of grammar. Okay, but our title is relative clauses. Okay, so what is relative clauses? Okay, so when we talk about relative clauses, we are going to discuss about the relative pronouns first. Okay, so what is relative pronouns? Okay, so the word relative pronouns come from the word pronouns. So what is pronouns? Pronouns is actually the word that we use to replace, right? For example, Amin, so we replace with he. And then Amina we replace with she. But for this one, when we talk about relative pronouns, we actually talk about the words like who, which, that, whom, or whose. Okay, so these are normally the words that we will use for our relative clauses in relative pronouns. Okay, so for the subject, if you can see in the first column, we have the subject. So if we talk about subject, we have the words like who, which, and that. Okay, and when we come to object, we can use the words or the relative pronouns like who, whom, okay, which, and that. Okay, and for possessive, okay, possessive pronouns, we normally use the word whose. Okay, the word whose. Okay, class, let us continue. Okay, so why do we use relative pronouns? Okay, so we use relative pronouns to introduce relative clauses. Okay, so before we want to know more about relative clauses, we need to know about relative pronouns. Okay, so relative clauses tell us more about people and things. Okay, so let us look at the examples of sentences with the relative pronouns. Okay, the first one, Mr. Suresh, who is 56, has just retired. So here, the word who is the relative pronoun, okay, for Mr. that is referring to Mr. Suresh. Okay, number two, this is the house which my father built. Okay, so the word which here is referring to the word, yes, to the word house, okay, because which is for things, okay. Okay. Number three, Marie Curie is the woman that discovered radium. Okay, so here the relative pronoun is that. Okay, so we use. Okay, so here the sentence for the third sentence we use the relative pronoun of that. Okay, so we can also use that. Okay, for certain sentences in relative clauses. Okay, moving on. Okay, we use who and whom for people. Okay, remember just now when we refer to the example of sentences. Okay, I repeat. We use the words who and whom for people. Okay, remember just now when we saw the examples of sentences like Marie Curie, we use who, Mr. Suresh, we use who, because these are for people. Okay, number two, we use which. Okay, the word which for things like house, wood, and so on. Okay, and the next one is the word that. Okay, the word that can also be used for people or things. Okay, so remember we can also use that for people or things. Okay. Okay, here we have two types of relative clause. Okay, there are two kinds of relative clause. Okay, number one, we use relative clauses to make clear which person or thing we are talking about. Okay, remember the first function is, or the first type of relative clause is to make clear which or who is the person that we are talking about. Okay, look at the example. Marie Curie is the woman who discovered radium. So we are talking about Marie Curie. Okay, so this is the first kind of, or the first type of relative clause. Okay, the second example, this is the house which my father built. Okay, so we are referring to the house which my father built. Okay, let's continue. Okay, we can also use the word that. Okay, remember just now when I mentioned that we can also use that for people or things. Okay, so in this kind of relative clause, we can use that instead of who or which. Okay, look at the examples. Marie Curie is the woman that discovered radium. Okay, or this is the house that Jack built. Okay, so these are the two sample sentences where we can use the word that. Okay, continue. Okay, this is the second type of relative clause. Okay, remember we have two types. Okay, the second type, we also use relative clauses to give more information about a person, thing, or situation. Remember just now the first one, we want to make clear about the person, right? So this one is we want to give more information about the person or the thing or the situation that we are talking about. Okay, so examples. Mr. Suresh, who is 56, has just retired. So can you look at the difference between the first type and the second type that we are discussing now? Okay, here we have the comma. Do you see the comma after the word Suresh and also after 56? So this is where it differs from the first type, okay, because we want to give more information. So remember, when we are giving more information, we have to add or we use commas. Okay, let's look at the second example. We had chicken chop and potato chips, which I always enjoy. Okay. Okay, let's continue with the second example. We had chicken chop and potato chips, which I always enjoy. Okay, so this one we are giving more information about eating or having chicken chop and potato chips, and this is the one that you always enjoy. Okay, the third example, I met Hanis in town yesterday. Okay, which was a nice surprise. Okay, so here we are giving more information about how do you your meeting with Hanis, okay, yesterday. So how is it that you feel, or what is the impact on you? So you feel that it was a nice surprise. And then we also have the we also have the comma here. Okay, so with this kind of relative clause, we use commas to separate it from the rest of the sentence. Okay, so remember, if we have commas or when we use commas, this is where we give more information about a person, thing, or situation. Okay, so do you think you have some ideas about relative clauses by now? Okay, I hope so. Okay, so we can continue with our next lesson or next slide. Okay, now this one. Okay, this is on relative pronoun with prepositions. Okay, as we move further, okay, you might have to uh, know a lot. You have to know more about the use of preposition in the relative clause. Okay, so this one we want to learn about relative pronoun with prepositions. Okay, I'm sure you know what is prepositions, right? The word like from, with, above, and so on. Okay, when, who, or whom, or which have a preposition, okay, the preposition can come at the beginning of the clause. Okay, clause means like a part of the sentence. Okay, so it can have like in the beginning of the sentence. Okay, let's look at the example. I had an aunt in Germany. From, so from is the preposition, and then who or whom is the relative pronoun. Okay, whom or who I inherited a bit of money. Okay, so you see here the word from is the preposition. It appears at the beginning of the clause. Okay, now look at B. My brother bought a chainsaw. Okay, with, okay, so with is the preposition which which is the relative pronoun. He cut up all the wood. Okay, so this is the preposition that appear at the beginning of the clause. Okay, so later we will see how is it when it is at the end of the sentence or of the clause. Okay, let's continue. Okay, this is the sample of sentences where we have the preposition at the end of the clause. Okay, so let's look at the examples. A, I had an aunt. We use the same example so that it is easy for you to differentiate, okay, between the one at the beginning and the one at the end of the clause. Okay, so again, I had an aunt in Germany whom I inherited a bit of money from. Okay, can you see now the preposition is at the end of the clause? Okay, so here we have the word from, which is the preposition at the end of the clause. Okay, now let's look at B. My brother bought a chainsaw which he cut all the wood up with. Okay, so now you see the preposition, the word with is at the end of the clause. Okay, so this is the difference between the preposition at the end and at the beginning of the clause. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, this is a situation when we have a preposition and we use the word that. Okay, so but when the word that has a preposition, let's say we want to use the word that in our sentence, okay, and we also have preposition, so the preposition will always come at the end of the clause. Okay, remember, if we use the word that plus preposition, make sure it is at the end of the clause. Okay, let's look at the example. I didn't know the aunt that I inherited the money from. Okay, so remember, if the relative clause or relative pronoun is that, preposition must always be at the end of the clause. Okay, B, my brother can't find the chainsaw that, the relative pronoun, he cut all the wood up with. Okay, so with is the preposition, it is at the end of the clause. Okay, so this is the difference between the use of relative pronouns who or which and that, either at the beginning or at the end of the clause for the preposition. Okay, continue. Okay, now to test your understanding and whether you have understood what I have presented just now or what you have studied on your own. Okay, I would like you to look at your textbook. Okay, turn to page 11. Okay, we are going to do question number 2 and 3. So please, I will also post your your assignment in Google Classroom and also in your group, in your class WhatsApp group. So please do it, okay, and hand it to me before 5 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, 5 p.m. on 25th of February. Okay, so I will prepare the assignment for you to write your answer, to type your answer for question 2 and 3, and I will also give an extra activity for you to do. Okay, might be in the form of live worksheet. Okay, so you can straight away know your score. Okay, and also please upload your score, or you snap a photo or you print screen your live worksheet, then you either private message me or you hand it in Google Classroom. Okay, so I hope you are clear. If you are not, you can ask me in the group. Okay, so all the best. Thank you and see you again next time.